Tokozani. Tokozani. This is another episode of Usela with Gogo Mkanya. I am Gogo Mkanya Kude Yazimanzini Tokoza, and today we are going to be talking about steps and signs to consider when choosing and finding a suitable gobella. This question was posed to me by Mrs. Sabra26 on Instagram. I'll be making sure that I post her information down below in the description for this video. And as always, if you have a question, you can email me, send me your questions in my inbox on social media. Make sure I put all that information in the description for you so you can find it. Okay? So, again, we're talking today about steps and signs to consider with regard to finding a suitable gobella. So, when you are called by your ancestors, when your ancestors call you and you know that you have been contacted by them, you have had the dreams, you've seen yourself in the cloths, you've seen yourself in the beads, you've seen other things, maybe you've seen snakes, you've seen different animals or natural elements coming to you, speaking to you, wanting to take you away, the water, all of these different things. You know you have a calling, okay? And those that I just listed are some signs where you know that you have a spiritual calling in terms of this tradition that you are called indeed to go Epiphany and to go Kutwasa. Um, but we'll get into that in another video. With this one specifically, Mrs. Sabra 26 wants to know about how to find a suitable gobella. So once you know you have a calling, your very next step should be to begin to connect directly with your ancestors, meaning that you should begin to ukupahla your ancestors, that you should begin to pray, you should begin to meditate. Because, see, once they call you and you are aware that it is your Amadlozi that is calling you, um, you may stop having dreams. You may stop having experiences. You may stop because they've called you and they know that you heard them. So your next step then is to connect with them and to begin to ask them for guidance in your next step, to begin to show you. And this is based on what I've done, what my sisters, my god sisters I initiated with, how we were trained, how my Baba was trained, and her Baba before her, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that is how we were what we were instructed to do moving forward, and that's actually what even happened in my personal experience. In my personal experience, after I realized that my ancestors were talking to me and were calling me and they were saying things to me, and I because I'm American, I didn't know anything about Ubungoma at all. I didn't know anything about being a Sangoma or having Amidlozi or Idlozi or anything. And my ancestors guided me to the necessary outlets that I needed to go to in order to have a basic understanding of what I was being called into. And so once I got that understanding, then my next step was to ask them to send me a teacher. And I didn't know anything about Ukupatla, or I didn't know, anything about Impepo, or lighting candles for them. I knew to light candles because I already had an ancestral altar in my home. So I already had candles and water and all of those things and tobacco on my altar. So I just did what I knew in terms of contacting my ancestors. And I said, listen, I need you to send me a teacher that is going to be able to get me to the place that I need to get to, that it can aid, because my Sangoma sickness, as it were, was deep depression. I was suicidal. My mother had packed a bag and was preparing to admit me into the mental hospital um, on one particular day, if because I had been in bed for 3 weeks. And I mean, in bed, like not getting up, barely going to the bathroom, I was just terribly depressed and was ready to just die slowly. And my mama was going to put me in the hospital, and it was in those moments that my ancestors begin to call and begin to talk to me and send me the dreams and everything. And so um, once I realized that it was my ancestors, I said, listen, I need you to send me a teacher, somebody who's going to be compassionate, somebody who's going to be open minded, somebody who is going to have the necessary skill set to show me what I need to know about me that I clearly am missing. And so I asked for a teacher that was for me, a teacher that could help me become what I needed to become and to heal from what I needed to heal from. So that would be what I would suggest to anyone, is that once you know you have a calling, begin to ukupatha your ancestors, begin to call on them, begin to ask them for guidance, listen, pray, meditate, write down, what they say to you in a journal. Ask them to, be specific, to send you to someone who understands your situation, who understands your financial situation. If you're young, someone who is skilled in teaching and dealing with young people who have it losey. Just be very specific when you're talking to your ancestors. And then also, kind of trust your intuition, trust your gut, trust your spirits, that the person that you are attracted to um, is, if not the person who's going to teach you, but someone who maybe can put you in contact with the person that you need to be connected to and who needs to be your Gobella. You have to be open minded. You have to be willing to move when the ancestors say move. You have to trust them, that even if you come across a Gobella who maybe your personality doesn't rub, but you still feel like connected, to them. Like, you may not like them personally, which really, doesn't matter at the end of the day, because if your ancestors told you and guided you to this particular person, there's a reason for that, and that's something that you should use as a vehicle to further strengthen your relationship with your ancestors, to understand why. And even if you don't get a direct answer, you'll at least come to the place of knowing that, you and your ancestors do have that open line and form of communication. So that's what I would consider, would tell you to do as far as steps. Once you acknowledge your call, establish a relationship with your ancestors, and ask them to send you to a Gobella, and send a Gobella to you that is suitable for you, for your circumstances, for your situation. You know, for me, it was necessary that I had a Gobella who was American, because I'm American, and my Gobella is American, but her Baba is South African, and even my Baba Mkulu is he's South African, but he's fluent in English, so there's no communication barrier. Just to give you a quick example, when I was in South Africa, um, we had gone to the ocean and to do some ceremony there. And when my one of my god sisters and I, we were walking to the bathroom to go, to go clean off, the ocean water and everything, and change our clothes. And of course, we were in our reds, and another a Gobella came up to us, and he began speaking to us in isiZulu. Of course, we're not fluent in isiZulu, so we did what we knew to do. Of course, we went down. We greeted him, Tokozani Mkulu, and we called our Gogo Mama, to us. She was another um, person who was assisting in our process, and she began to speak to him, and come to find out, he was telling us, you need me to be your Gobella. I'm supposed to be your teacher. I can call your Amitlozi down and all this other kind of stuff. And we laughed about it once the situation was resolved, and we had gone on afterwards. Later on, we kind of laughed about it, but the statement came up that how could he have been our Gobella when he doesn't even speak English? Like, we speak English. Our ancestors know that we speak English, so they knew we needed English speaking teachers. So it is these types of things that you have to look for. You have to look for those teachers who speak to you in the language that you speak, not just literally, but spiritually, emotionally as well. have to trust your guides, trust your heart, trust your spirit, and you know, don't be afraid to, ask questions. If you ask someone who you're considering, coming under as a twaza, and you ask them some questions and they're dismissive or whatever, and they don't take the time to consider your questions as being valid, then you have to trust that, and realize that maybe that's just not the Gobella for you, but it's all really up to you and your Dlozi, and that's why it's so important for you to establish a relationship with your ancestors, so that when they speak, you will be able to hear. When they say this is the one, when you check within your spirit to say, is this the right person I feel, and they say yes, and you get that yes, you can trust that. So that's what I would suggest for anyone who is looking for a Gobella. If um, you're going to run into personality clashes. I love my Baba, but we don't always see eye to eye on things. But what I have learned is that I've learned to trust her Dlozi and her relationship with her Dlozi, and trust that she is honorable enough to maintain that and always deal with me from that place. That way I can always deal from that place of trust and knowing that even if she does give me an instruction that I don't like, or even if she does something that maybe personally I wouldn't do, and not to say that that happens, but just, using as an example, even if there are, personality clashes and rubs, then I'm still able to humble myself and submit myself, because it's not to necessarily the woman, it is to the greatness and the be of the being that is the ancestor that I'm looking at, so it is important for you to know who your ancestors are to you, that relationship, and to develop that within yourself, so that when you are searching for a Gobella, that you're able to make a wise decision for yourself. Ask around, you know. Um, if you want to know, ask. I'm a big proponent of asking. That may be just because I'm American, but ask. You know, um, does this person have a reputation of harming their twazas? Does this person have a reputation for doing, behaving unethically? Because we have a responsibility as teachers and, healers to be ethical in the treatment of the people that we're helping. So I do believe that those types of things matter, especially in this day and age. So it's always better to ask both your ancestors and other people whom you trust. Um, but ultimately, the decision is yours, and your Edlozi. So that's where you got to check first. Okay? So that's my time for today. I hope I've answered that question for you, Mrs. Sabra 26. If you have any further questions, you are more than welcome to inbox me, send me an email. I look forward to hearing from you. And until next time, Tokozani.